process that the team went through in designing this amazing product. Don't worry, you will all walk out of here today with one of those and the demo sheet that we're doing, so don't panic. And some other bits and pieces. Sam's then going to do a presentation about the RNLI. I've seen a couple of snips of it. It's already fascinating. The map, the map slide is amazing, so you'll all find that quite funny. And then we're going to split into groups. I've put your names on screen, so split into groups. And then we've got a factory and lifeboat tour, and there's a simulator on site as well, and other bits and pieces that you will get to see. We're not going out to sea on a boat today, so don't worry about that. And then we're all back up here. We're going to rotate those groups in reception, so we don't want to come back up here just to rotate. So we're going to do that in reception. Back up here for lunch, and then just after lunch we're then close and go from there. Okay, so unless anyone has any questions already, which hopefully you haven't, I'm going to hand over to Matt. So thank you very much.
Right, everyone. So I was introducing I'm Matt, one of the senior designers at Airfix. I've been in the Airfix team for about 15 years now. So I look after a small team of 4 designers, help out with some of their research, guide them through the design process. So the Shannon Lifeboat wasn't actually one of my designs. The guy who designed the lifeboat, another guy called Adam, he's departed us from the nuclear power industry, so changed direction. So hopefully I can sort of give you a bit of an overview of what we did for the new Shannon Lifeboat. So the Shannon Lifeboat, it forms part of our new starter set range. So this was a project that started about 3 or 4 years ago. We realised that the existing starter sets, they used a lot of old mouldings, and although they were quite simple kits, they weren't easy kits. Some of them didn't fit together too well. Subject matter was quite dated. So we completely revamped all the starter sets, get rid of all the old tooling out the range, bring in a completely new range to sort of hopefully entice some new modelers into the hobby. So we've got a new range of kits that are specifically designed for inexperienced modelers, but they're still really good fun builds that anyone can sort of get into as a sort of a quick weekend build, and you still end up with a lovely little display piece at the end. So the way we've gone about it is we've tried to reduce the parts count, make things simpler, make sure all the parts fit together nicely. But we've got the same attention to detail and accuracy as we put into all of our other kits. So all the shapes are accurate, all the details are accurate, and you still end up with something that you can be proud of. A big part of the kit isn't just the moulded parts, it's the instructions that go with it. They're as big a part of the building experience as the bits that you're gluing and painting. So we've put a lot of time and effort into slightly redesigning the style of instructions, and all the kits have this nice sort of flyer that really just guides you step by step through the basics of how to put a plastic model kit together. So this is the new range, quick overview. We've got 6 sort of iconic aircraft. Your Red Arrow, Spitfire, Messerschmitt, Typhoon. We've got some modern vehicles in there. A lot of kids love playing Gran Turismo and Forza. So we've picked some sort of hypercars that we like to see in those sorts of games. We've got some classic vehicles, your Jaguar, Aston Martin, Land Rover. We've got a ship, Mary Rose, goes hand in hand with a lot of school projects. A couple of military vehicles, and the latest one to be released is the Shannon Lifeboat, which is just in the bottom right there.
There's a gap there, there's obviously something else coming from.
Yeah, the slide doesn't quite work, does it?
I know, that slide really annoys me. But I'm not sure if it's worth 50 to 60 grand just to fill that slide space up. So, I don't know, I haven't worked that one out.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
A nicely engineered Ferguson tractor would go well there, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I think we've got some ideas of what the next one might be.
It's got to be a Beetle, hasn't it?
Wait and see, yeah.
Volkswagen Beetle, yeah. Hint, hint.
So, Channel Lifeboat, quick overview, should be released this month. 72nd scale, RP just under £20, so still just about pocket money pricing. So watch out for that in the shops. Decal scheme we've done is the 1301, which was moored up just below the windows this morning, but it's just before you all got here, it sailed off. So why did we pick a lifeboat? Well, we've had the larger 7 class in the range since 2007. Evergreen, popular kit. Lovely subject. It's not the easiest kit in the world to put together. We'd be the first to admit that. So we wanted something similar to fit into the starter set range. See, it's a non-military subject. One of the barriers we've seen to people getting into modelling, certainly younger people, is people that parents that don't want to sort of encourage the sort of military side of things. So that's why the new starter sets is a good mix of military and non-military, so that break down that barrier. Sharing class, there's over 50 of them now. I think the 52nd has just gone into service, I think this morning. So very popular lifeboat, can be seen all the way around the country, and also features strongly on a bit of the current BBC TV series. So lots of people familiar with it. Every sale of the kit, we've got a donation to the RNLI, great to help a charity. And then the kit will be on sale at RNLI gift shops as well. So an even bigger chunk will be going to the RNLI if you buy it through the gift shops. Which will be in service for a long time to come. We chose 72nd scale to fits nicely with other models in the range, and it also conveniently fits nicely in the packaging that we've already got in the range. It always helps. So I'm going to have a quick overview of the design process. I know some of you have probably seen this before, but we've certainly got some people that haven't seen this before. So a brief that we started with, obviously, 72nd scale. 72nd is a well-established scale in the Airfix range, goes back to the whole one true scale theme from back in the day. So it fits nicely with the other aircraft, and then as you progress your sort of modelling career, there's lots of other models that sit next to it nicely on the shelf. With the start sets, we've got the quick build range, which sort of fits below the starter sets, which are the scale models, but they can be played with. With the starter sets, it's a model, so it's designed to be accurate, it's designed to be an authentic replica of the real thing, but easier to put together than a sort of fully blown Airfix kit. So we're trying to look at all aspects of the kit so that it goes together nicely, get rid of any areas that could be confusing, make sure parts only fit one way round. Don't have too many small parts. Some parts are sort of quite necessary, but some details we're moulding onto to larger parts, so it's not a really long-winded modelling process. And also looking at the different colours. Certainly with the lifeboat, we've got a big chunk of orange for the cabin, so that is all as separate parts, so that you can paint that before you put it together. So we're sort of looking at how it will be painted as well, so that you can get a nice deep finish. All of our projects start with a good chunk of research. So we have a full-time researcher who spent a good few weeks at the start of all the projects getting a big folio of data together before it's passed on to the designer. We're really lucky with this project that the team here were actually able to supply us with the full-size CAD model of the real lifeboat, which was a huge help to us. Obviously that was hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of components, a lot of which weren't any use to us. So we had to go through that, pick out what we needed, simplify as much as we could so that the computer wasn't getting bogged down, and then scale that full-size model down to 72nd scale. Certainly with something as distinctive as the lifeboat, it was such a sort of curvaceous hull shape that having the original CAD to reference was absolutely invaluable. And hopefully it means that we can capture that shape of the hull really nicely in the kit. It was also able to come down here, take lots of reference photos to get all the fine details right. We've got, as you will see later on today, we haven't seen all the different stages of the build process, get a feel for how the thing goes together in real life. Sort of find all the little details that weren't so clear on the CAD, so like how the not sure what it's called, like sort of, that's quite called a cockpit, but it's probably the helm. All the details there, how they look, all the things that are normally hidden underwater, like the jet drives. Could take loads of really detailed photos of all that so we can capture it in the kit parts. The first thing we do is build up some of the outside curves. We're laying down sort of lofting curves so that we can draw lots of cross sections, drawing them up, and then plot out a nice smooth surface between it all. We're building up details such as the windows. You can see some of these funny looking surfaces sticking out, is where we're going to use those shapes later on in the design process to split those flat surfaces down to the individual parts. And then the other thing we have to be really mindful of is all of our parts of injection molded. So we need nice consistent wall thicknesses so the plastic can flow through the mould. We've got some really nice analysis tools that tells us if areas are too thin or too thick, so we can tweak the surfaces at this early stage and make sure as we add details, we haven't got to go back and change lots of things that will upset all the sort of potentially hundreds of features that are built on top of these base surfaces. So sometimes we do have to make some changes to the shape of the real thing. All of, as I said there, all of the parts of injection molded. As the mould opens, that part has got to come out of the injection mold, so there can't be any undercuts, things that are going to catch. So sometimes we do have to tweak some of the shapes. On the Shannon, there were some chines on the hull that actually would undercut, so we have to sort of simplify those slightly, but it still gives the same, it still gives the right impression of what the real thing looks like. So one of the key things on this start, because it is a starter set, is making the hull as simple and robust to put together as possible. So we've got a couple of nice chunky bulkheads that align all the hull parts, so that when that's all glued together, it's really nice and secure. So you've got a nice solid foundation to build all the cabin and the deck features onto. With the deck part, we've actually got some sort of basic sort of seats and control panels moulded as part of the deck. So you're not spending ages putting loads of parts on just to build up an interior that you can hardly see. So for a beginner, it just keeps that build momentum going. So you're not spending ages on tiny little parts that you never see again. So going into some of the smaller details, we wanted to show off some of the unique features of the Shannon lifeboat. One of those is the jet drives on the back, which allows it to go into really shallow water and they can literally drive up onto the beach. So we wanted to really show clearly the jet drives on the back. And then some of the details of the deck that the crew get involved in, such as the winches and capstans and anchors that are fixed to the deck. Because when you see the crews sailing off, that's what they're all crowded around. That's where all the activity is. But we try to break that down into as fewer parts as possible, so it still sticks with us starter set ethos. One of the things with model kits, you talk to people that make kits years ago, and one of the things that they always say is, I always used to make the winch, the clear parts all foggy with glue. So with the starter sets, we've really tried to make sure that all the clear parts could just click in place. So there's no chance of getting glue on the clear parts. So all the windows are just molded as one part, just clips in place after you've done all your painting. The cabin on top, quite an awkward shape. When we were making prototypes at work, we were finding if we broke it up into smaller parts, it was very hard to build it square, because you could build it leaning over slightly and then all your other parts don't fit properly. So we made the decision to mould it all as one piece, very similar to how we do car body shells. So we use a technique called slide moulding, so that the whole cab is moulded in one part, and you've got separate parts of the mould that come in from different directions to make the details on the side and cutouts of the windows. Just making sure that it's as easy as possible to go together, really. If you built any of our other starter sets, some of the aircraft, they all come with their own unique shadow stand. We wanted to include something similar for this, but we didn't think the shadow stand would be appropriate. You don't often see those slides with yet. So one of the things that caught our eye when we were down here on the research trip, when the boats are being moved around the factory, they use quite a distinctive fixture that fits underneath the hull. So we've tried to mimic that for the model display stand. Rather than trying to do something sort of stylised and ornate, we try to make something true to life to make it a bit more authentic. So it's just three parts glued together, and then there's a space at the bottom just moulded on so you can put the nameplate as a decal, which is quite a nice little touch. One of the comments I've had about the model is, why do you offer a waterline? It is something that we explored. The issue is with the Shannon is because it gets up on the plane at speed, it hasn't got a set waterline. When you see them sitting in dock, they sit quite low in the water. When you see them at speed, obviously they rise out quite a lot. And when we were looking at how the parts were broken down, it would have added a lot more complexity to the model. So we chose to do a full hull model, and then we can show off all of the jet drives and intakes that are on the bottom of the hull. Once we've done all that design work, we go through a process of prototyping, a lot of 3D printing. This is a screenshot from our slicing software for work. So we're actually able to print out every individual component in a resin material so that we can glue all the parts together, make sure it all fits, give sets of parts to other people so they can build where people haven't had anything to do with the project. We can iron out any little issues where we can change the order of the part sequence. And we can also use it to kickstart the tooling design process. One of the really critical things with starter sets is actually getting all the parts physically in the box. So we're actually able to use all these 3D printed parts to lay out within an outline of the box so that we can make sure all the parts will physically fit. Which we can then pass on to the tool makers. So this is a process that we go through. It's very much, we don't design the tools in-house. We've got a very skilled team of tool makers, but we do give them a lot of guidance. With the Lifeboat, because you've got some quite tall parts, like the cabin, we've actually had to design the layout of the other frames to fit around that, so that the parts don't bulge out in the box and then get damaged and squashed. There's lots of things to think about that you might not necessarily consider. We're also in the tool we have to have ejector pins, sort of various other sort of engineering features, so we have to sort of guide the tool makers as to how to lay those out so that we're not creating problems in the future. So a quick overview of what we supply in the box. So the finished kit was 54 pieces, so it's on the higher end of parts count for a starter set, but it is a slightly higher price point than the smaller starter set like the Spitfires and the Messerschmitts. 280mm long, so you can see them on the table over there. It's a really nice, nice size kit. Got one-piece cabin, and then as with all the start sets, you get your paints, adhesive, and brushes all supplied. One thing we've noticed over the last few years is there's a generation of parents that they want to get the kids into modelling. They want to do something that's not screen based, but they don't necessarily have experience of building kits when they were younger. So there's a lot of people out there that are having their first experience of kit building, and they just need that bit of a kickstart so that they can literally work out the basics. So with all of our new starter sets, we're supplying a A4 leaflet that just breaks down all the real basics of building the kits, things you might not be familiar with, like how to remove parts from screws, where to put the glue, how to do a water slide decal. So that goes alongside the kit instructions. And then with our new starter set instructions, we've gone into a lot more detail than we have done in the past. So we're showing details such as the yellow areas show exactly where to put the glue. You get a really nice map of where the parts are of the frame, and that diagram actually changes as you go through the kit. All the parts that you've removed in real life get taken off that diagram. So what you see in front of you is represented on the instructions, which is a big help for younger modelers that they might not be so good at identifying letters and numbers, but they can still see exactly what is in front of them, matches what's in
Probably a great help to some of the older ones as well.
Yeah, because the numbers on the frames sometimes aren't as easy to read, exactly.
Yeah, the real fun's stopping them, clipping everything off and leaving it in a big heap. Which is which.
So hopefully that makes that aspect of building the kit a bit better for people that are new to the hobby. So with the lifeboat kit, this is the colour scheme. So this is 1301, which is the first boat for the class to be launched. As with all our decals, they're printed in Italy by a company called Hardcastle, which are best in the business. So they're lovely, sharp printed, and they sit beautifully on the model. So no expense spared there. We've also going to be alongside this kit. We're going to make available a optional decal sheet. So that's going to have 50 boats from all around the country. So hopefully it will include your local lifeboat, so people can personalise it and make something that's unique to them. So that'll be available on the website.
Yeah, so that will be released the same time as the lifeboat, hopefully next week. As you know, that's the first time we've sold a decal sheet on its own as well. So it's a bit of an experiment, and it just felt like that absolute right product to try it on. But as we found out this morning, it's already out of date because sorry. As you'll find out later today, they're constantly. How long is the new lifeboat out?
Once every 12 weeks.
So yeah. Actually, this decal work isn't 12 weeks old, so maybe we got it wrong. But no. So the plan is, if this does really well, and we've ordered a limited number to begin with, then we go and update the artwork. We'll add those, and then there'll be a code on it, so you'll be able to see which ones are included. If you want the latest one, go and look for the latest version. So yeah, so that they're in stock now, but we won't release until the starter sets out.
And if these go well, you can do it for the seven class as well, then.
So the subclass has already got some extra numbers on it, I think. I need to check that. But if the depot sheet goes down well, and they are also manufactured by Cartograph, so okay, there's a lot of aftermarket decals out there, aftermarket companies, but very few of them use Cartograph. Then we will certainly be looking at it as a separate line for all sorts of products in our range that will hopefully prolong the life of some of those kits.
So it'd be nice to assemble some of the nameplates, because that's the one thing that's missing. You've got number jump, do all the markings, but you've got none of the nameplates.
Yeah.
Even just an add-on onto that sheet,
Yeah.
as a little corner, as a bonus,
Yeah.
for a couple would be good.
There's loads of things we can do. Yeah, I must admit I was shocked, surprised at how expensive a decal sheet is on its own. So obviously we know how much decal sheets cost, obviously, but when you put it into the kit with the plastic and everything else, it sort of levels out, so you never really see it on its own. But yeah, when we were just trying to put that decal sheet in a A5 envelope with another bit of paper just showing you where to put it and everything, I was like, bloody hell, that's not as cheap as I thought we'd be able to release it at, but it all enables kit sales of the main thing and everything. So, and I've already seen loads of people saying, I only want that name and that number, so if anyone wants the rest of it, then let me know and I'll post it to you. So I'm sure this decal sheet is going around the world, around the UK to however many people, 50 odd people, who are just going to take the little bit that they want off it. But regardless, it's an enabler, so it's a great thing for us to go and do. The feedback is certainly welcome.
So yeah, so this is just a few views of the final model after it's been built and painted. Showing some of the details included, little nice things on the back, the control panels, some of the glazing. So yeah, any questions?
Good. That's good then. It means a full rounded presentation there, Matt. Well done.
What are the colours that come with the paints that come with the kit?
Good question.
I've got some. It's just that there are 6 when normally
15,
there are 4.
18, 27, no, they're all on the back. So obviously a couple of paints and with the closest matches possible that we have in our range already. We're aware of some paint manufacturers that have gone off and they've already got their own colours for it, so that's absolutely fine. One thing that didn't mention, the RNLI just approved this straight away. So they approved the shape, design, they approved the packaging, they approved the paint colours straight through. So that should obviously give loads of people, it certainly gives us confidence in what we've designed and produced. It should give you guys fairly confidence as well. I'm sure the engineers have seen it and went through that process. So you know, if the people that are working on a day in day out are more than happy, then that's you can't do anything much better than that. So. Cool. Okay. Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you. Hand over to Sam now.
It's me now.
Yeah.
I think on the paint side of things, as an organisation for a blue and orange boat, we've got 80 different paints in our paint. So, more than we need.
And they've only put 6 in the box.
And you've got gel coats and, yeah, we try to do all sorts. With 2 seconds, sort out the tech.
Our seamless transition.
So it's about now do what it should do. Yeah, perfect. Cool, so first and foremost, first I've met already, hello. First I haven't met, I'm Sam. I'm a Senior Strategic and Operational Partnerships Manager here at the RNLI. If anybody knows what that is by the end of the day, please let me know. I'll figure that myself. I think the first thing to do is to thank you guys so much for being here. I think the first thing you've realised, kind of having arrived at RNLI College, is that we're not just a little lifeboat station at the coast with 238 locations. The kind of setting we've got here, the campus we've got here, probably almost everything you can see outside of ASDA is RNLI owned and RNLI operated. It's a hotel, 67 rooms overlooking the harbour, top rated on TripAdvisor, best breakfast in Poole, a good place to stay. It's a world-renowned training facility. It's a sea survival tank, the biggest sea survival tank in the UK, which you will see later. We've got our 7-class simulator on site, again you'll see, and we've got one of our 3 manufacturing units just around the corner on the Lifeboat Centre. So there's a huge amount that goes on here every day alongside the training side of things, so it's a pretty big setup. The college itself, it's kind of had several different iterations. Our HQ used to be in London before we brought it out to Poole. We're based here now for I think it's around 70 years or so. This building was constructed towards the end of 2011, with ALC coming in 2014. We've got our life-saving support centre, which is where on the operational side of things sit. On the other side, everything here is almost everything that we do. I think, in essence, in terms of who we are as an organisation, our kind of remit or our vision or mission is really quite simple, and it's the same today as it was on the 4th of March in 1824 when we as an organisation were set up. That vision is really simple. It's to stabilise the sea and to save everybody. No matter how you end up in the water, no matter your reasons for being there, we will come to get you. Sometimes whether you like it or not. I think as an organisation, for us, the values that we stand by is we want to be courageous. We're kind of run and operated by 35,000 volunteers. It's a huge number of people that put their time, effort, bravery into doing what they do, to launching sometimes into some of the most horrendous conditions, to deal with sometimes the most horrendous conditions. It's just amazing. I think the other key part for us is that idea of being a dependable organisation. If someone puts a new call to us, Manchester East Coast Guard, and they task us to something, we want people to know that we will be there to say. It's why we take so much pride in the boat building side of what we do, why we take so much pride in the supply relationships we have. We want to work with the best because we put our boats and our people in some of the worst conditions possible. We need them to work when we ask them to do so. So that dependability side of things is key. The selflessness and trustworthiness, I hope would kind of come with any organisation such as us, with a 4th emergency service, 4th blue light type organisation in the UK, work really closely with those other partner organisations. But I think the easiest way to showcase some of this stuff, there we go, first tech failure, is to show you guys a video of who we are, what we get up to. So I'm hoping the sound works on this.
It's just amazing seeing, you know, that person there is gonna pick you up. Do you know what I mean? Like, you are safe.
No, that's right, mate. Stay calm, remember. Even when I saw the RNLI guys, I didn't know I was going to be okay. So I didn't even know until I was sure whether I was going to survive, but at least I knew somebody was there for me. It meant so much for them, just for them to know that they were there and the water with me. I think it just gave me the strength and the energy just to sort of find the energy to go onto the boat.
To know that those people came, they literally saved me, because I was there completely helpless with 2 children, just watching the person that I love dying, and they just saved me that day.
The RNLI are actually going into a serious situation to help other people to bring them back safely, and so that families can be together again.
Thank you for rescuing my daddy.
Despite all our efforts, people are still drowning. Families are suffering the devastating, unexpected pain of losing someone this way.
My 4 young children have missed out on their Uncle Don. And particularly my baby's never met him. And he was fantastic with children, and he would have gone on to make a great dad. For me not to have him in my life with my children was very sad.
By choosing the RNLI as your charity partner, you can help us save everyone. You can be a lifesaver like me, and together, as one crew, we can make sure that nobody suffers the loss of a loved one through drowning.
Much better job of describing who we are and what we do on a daily basis than I ever could. And I think that the other thing that always strikes me about that video is that was 7 rescues. Last year we went out to 8,900 just on our lifeboat side of things, and then with the lifeguards, I think we had something like 19,000 preventative actions, and again a further 8,000 rescues. So that's kind of just a snippet of the things that we as an organisation do deal with on a daily basis, and it's because of the facilities that we've got here and the relationships we've got with people like Airfix that allow us to continue doing the day job. In terms of how it looks from an organisational point of view, as I said, we've been here for 200 years. The 4th of March 1824 is when the RNLI became the RNLI. Started in, like all good stories, started in a pub in the City of London. Again, its Royal Charter slightly after that, to becoming the organisation we are now. 238 stations around the coast of the UK and Republic of Ireland. I think that the and Republic of Ireland is a hugely important bit, because in the south of Ireland we remain the Royal National Irish. It's got 2 organisations over there that are still referred to as Royal, and when we've asked our Irish counterparts whether they want to keep the flag and keep the Royal, actually they've said yes and very proud of it. So it's one we're really proud of. At those 238 lifeboat stations, we've got 441 boats. The fleet is huge, encompassing our all-weather lifeboats and our inshore lifeboats. And some of the all-weather lifeboats we'll see a little bit later. The lifeboat is the bread and butter of the RNLI, really. It's what everybody knows us for, but I think increasingly so. The area that we're expanding into is our lifeguarded beaches. So last year we had 240 lifeguarded beaches. A lot of people don't always realise that it's us providing the service there. It is, and we work hard for local authorities, private landowners. Last year alone, we had 25,000 million people visit our lifeguarded beaches. The numbers are just huge, and they're only getting busier. But our lifeguard team are delighted that it's been raining for the last 6 weeks because the beach has been empty. They won't be, I'm sure, sometime soon. In that 200 years, we're now at 144,000 lives saved. Lives saved at the RNLI is a number that we're really very proud of. Each life saved gets audited, and it's not considered a life saved if there was any possibility that that life could have been preserved without the need of the RNLI. So they are all fully audited in terms of without us, that person would have lost their life. In terms of education and the type of things that we're trying to do with that, one of the things we said is that preventative action is worth a huge amount of lives saved. With 37.5 million actions between 2021 and 2020, 2001 and 2021 on our lifeguard surveillance. It's a huge amount of involvement that our centre with regards to that on a daily basis. 45 people on average every day. We're going out to shouts that we're going out to, boats that we're launching. It's kind of scope of us in an action setting. And then, as I say, that stat at the bottom right, 95% of the RNLI people are volunteers. You've got 5,600 operational lifeboat volunteers, those people that launch. We've then got over 4,000 that help with the launching of lifeboats, tractor drivers, station mechanics, that kind of thing. On top of that, we've got fundraising volunteers, water safety volunteers. It's just amazing. I feel quite guilty on the 28th of every month when I take my salary, because the volunteers, the work that they do, it's just mind-blowing. We operate as kind of a one crew mentality. Everybody, whichever part you play, you're kind of allowing us to deliver our frontline service. The other couple of bits of work I'll touch on is our international work. Something that we don't really shout about a huge amount, it's starting to get traction. We work very closely with the World Health Organization, the United Nations and UNESCO to lobby and provide expertise on global drowning prevention. We've got some work at the moment in Bangladesh, some work in Tanzania, all funded by specific individuals with their philanthropic interest. And it's not a case of us going in and running services for people. We're going out there, understanding the scenarios they face themselves, training, trying to leave a little bit of a legacy so they can take on that life-saving service for themselves. I talked about it very briefly, but the way we operate with that one crew philosophy is kind of why college is central to a lot of this. So we want people to come from, whether it be Aberdeen or Sellencote, down in Cornwall, they want them to come here, go through the same training, interact with different crews, meet people from around the RNLI, everyone goes through the same training, which we'll talk about some about later in sea survival. But it is just an army of people really, in some ways, sometimes feels quite cultish, but in a very positive way, I think. I think the other bit I wanted to touch on is the operational scope of us. So I spoke about 238 lifeboat stations, 250 to 240 last year. We've only got 60 support centres, 160 retail units connected to lifeboat stations, 300 supported branches, 10 museums, 3 manufacturing units, of which one is here. Our inshore lifeboats are built in Cowes and the Isle of Wight, and then we've got a facility, another company we own, Clayton's Engineering, who produce a lot of our launch and recovery vehicles. So a lot of the tractors you'll see, Elwood County tractors, community tractors, Tarrasfree and Bendy. We've got a SLARS unit around the back, which is amazing. Sometimes I think the tractors are cooler than the boats. 431 lifeboats, and that volunteer crew. It's just huge. People, when they think of the RNLI, they think of their local lifeboat station, but actually there's this £200 million organisation that kind of goes behind that to allow those stations to function as they do, to allow us to build boats, provide for training. And I think when I talk about the funding side of things, 200 million quid to run this year, it's kind of ever increasing. We remain independent from government, take no central funding. We're very happy with that. Otherwise, from a financial point of view, it would be easier, but we quite like the distance that we have for a number of different reasons. We want to be a political football, albeit we are sometimes used as that. And on that, the work that we do at the channel, the small boat crisis, is something that's hugely important to us and we'll never shy away from. But it equates to 2% of the work that we do. I think certain publications might suggest it's 98%, it's 2%. It does keep those stations busy down in Dungeness, Dover, Walmer. My God, it's part of a bigger picture here. As an organisation, with the costs, inflation has hit us particularly hard. It hits us in numerous different ways. One, of course, the cost of everything is going up substantially, whereas if we were a public company, generally they would soak 5%, 5% we put onto the consumer, we have no consumer to pass it on to, so we soak it. So an interesting game. Of course, people have got less pounds in their pockets to be able to play. So it's a fascinating juggling act of making sure we can ensure kind of delivering as we need to be, whilst keeping the coffers as full as we can. I think today one of the main things from here, the model's absolutely fascinating. I'm pleased it's a starter kit, so I've been plugging it because everything will be but now I know that Keith's giving me everyone, I know you guys are in Salisbury, I'll be coming to ask for help. But I just thought, we've seen how you guys have put the Shannon together. You guys are going to see it in person, and you'll see each stage of the Shannon build in its process. So from composite wet layer, going into the moulds, into the oven, to the paint rooms, and then to fit out kind of bonding of the hull structure and depth. You'll see the whole process right from start to finish. But I wanted to just show you a quick video. So she's a pretty cool bit of kit. The jet, so the Hamilton jet provide the propulsion mechanism allows us to stop within a boat length at 25 knots. It allows us to drive up beaches at 18 knots to be recovered by the Shannon launch recovery vehicle. Again, we don't usually have them. There's one round back of ALC that you'll see later. It's self-righting. You can put in any conditions of capsize, I'll come back within 2 seconds. I don't think we've actually ever managed to capsize one. We've got pretty close on a number of occasions. But I wanted to give you a very quick oversight of kind of the lifeboats that we have in our service. I'm happy for you to film this, if that's okay. Just keep in mind that these numbers will change on an almost daily basis in terms of what we need. So the Shannon class is now the most readily available boat in the fleet. We've got 52 at current. 1352 is just down there. That's off to Clapton. See after Nigel Farage in probably about a month and a half's time once it's done its sea trials and that kind of stuff. We expect that total to reach 80. So we've got another 28 to make. And we're making that amount because what we'll be doing is replacing a lot of the Trent class, replacing a lot of the Tamar class, and replacing some of the 7. The versatility that they provide us is just the most fantastic all-round piece of kit. It's amazing. We're making 4 of those a year. We expect to be doing that until 2028. Could be longer, could be shorter. Again, one of the bits of work we're doing at the moment is really trying to look at the data and understand, right, well, what are the types of shouts we're going out to? Are they far offshore? Do we need an all-weather lifeboat? Because the investment in a Shannon class at 2.45 million quid versus 100 grand for D-class is of course hugely different. We want to make sure our assets are in the right place. And we're seeing that shouts now are more and more geared towards stand-up paddle boarders, people that perhaps don't know their own limitations in terms of swimming, that type of thing. And the slide I'll come on to the back, people coming from inner city locations. It's not normally professional mariners now, but we're working with the safety standards in that world, professional marine world, just don't like that, which is awesome to see.
So, can you tell us what the differences are between different classes? Is it a question of size, range, capacity of rescue people,
Yeah,
that sort of stuff?
yeah, and it, kind of all of that in one really. So the 7 class is the oldest, 17 metres long, powered by 2 MTU Rolls-Royce engines. The biggest lifeboat we've got in the fleet, the Derrick crane, and it's also got a wide boat, so it's a secondary boat within that we can launch if we need to get into more. Yeah, so that's this one. That's this one here. Obviously, given its size, we can fit more people on it, so we do tend to have those in places like Dover or in Aberdeen, where there's a lot of crew transfer out to the oil rigs. The other thing about them, from a size and weight point of view, is if we're towing and if we've got a big commercial fishing vessel, we need the tonnage. Just the weight of it to allow us to tow that. Trent class, 14 metres long, powered by 2 Cat engines. Lovely piece of kit. Probably one of my favourites, to be fair. It's almost a direct replacement. The Shannon is almost a direct replacement, just designed slightly different. And again, big vessel, but 30, 40 years old now, starting to become obsolete. And the Tamar class is, again, very similar to the Shannon. 60 metres long, so it's between Seven and Trent. Can be carriage launched, can be launched from slipway, where we need all our lifeboats, but in more difficult conditions, more difficult locations. That's where we traditionally
so a major factor is launching, because it traditionally used to go down a slipway.
Yeah.
Nowadays, big boats like the Seven sitting on harbour somewhere.
Yeah,
Oh, there's a beach launch.
yeah, exactly, and it completely depends, and that's why we put so much time and effort into the launch and recovery vehicles, so that the chance that we can run up the beaches in places like Dungeness, where sometimes we've got a 18-19% gradient into, we need to be able to get the boat on and off. Yeah, but I'm just saying, yeah. So there's all sorts of reasons why we pick different things, but yeah, big boats are generally in any shipping, big commercial fishing, or somewhere where there are mass casualty type rescues. We then got our ILBs, and these really are the unsexy workboats of the RNLI. The Atlantic B class, of which there's a number out here, I'll show you a little bit later. Capable of 35 knots, 2 Yamaha 115 engines on the back of them, again capable of self-righting, a big airbag on top of their A-frame with a hyperlong that will inflate, the boat goes over and rewrites itself. Crewed by 5 people generally. It's an immediate launch, so a mayday or a person in the water, they'll go with 4. The same with the D, instead of going with 3, they'll go with 2. So that means get they're certainly the most numerous boats in the fleet. The B's 135 in total, the D class 184 as well. They're the absolute workhorse of the RNLI, the unsung heroes. These boats rescue more people than the ALBs put together. The versatility that they provide us, the speed at which we're able to get to locations is fascinating. That's why we're in this funny position going, okay, well, what do we need to be building for the next 5, 10, 20 years? What the rest is going to look like? Is it more of these smaller, more agile, less expensive boats, or do we need those high performance all-road lifeboats for the foreseeable? So those are kind of the lifeboats that we've got. The thing that we haven't mentioned on there is the hovercraft. So we've got 4 hovercraft in operational fleet, 7 in total. So that's Hoylake, Morecambe, going to test it now. 1 in Norfolk and 1 on the Severn Street, Western Way. And then we've got 4 E-class boats, which operate on the Thames, because we've got 4 stations there. And actually, Chiswick and Tower are our 2 busiest lifeboat stations by quite some way. On the coast, we launch within 7 to 9 minutes. In London on the Thames, we have crews, again, all volunteers on 12-hour shifts, but have to launch within 90 seconds. The Thames is not a nice place, and generally the types of shouts that we're going to on the Thames are also some other more recovery jobs than anything else. When I got home last night, I thought what I'd try to do is kind of showcase a day in the life of the RNLI. So these are the shouts that took place yesterday. Yesterday in working hours. Starting, I think it was, I can't remember exactly where it was. But anyway, those are 10 shouts that took place yesterday. I think what I'd like to do after this is see what shouts have happened this morning. But it's just to show that wherever you are, there's generally a lifeboat at sea during that time. Volunteers putting their lives at risk for the safety and to help others. Again, for also the reason that those people might spend in the water. I think the last one I tried to leave people on is that with the RNLI, we operate at the coast, but we're not a coastal charity. We're coastal at the point of delivery. We're not going to pick you up in Birmingham, Manchester, but the people that we're picking up are from Birmingham, from Manchester, from London, inner city locations. But the people that come out to the coast that don't understand necessarily what tides are through no fault of their own, why would they? It's those types of people that we're going to see more and more prevalent in types of rescues we're going to. They buy the paddleboard from the middle aisle, little when it's on space. It's unbelievable. And the data that we've got to show little sail shouts going that way. Unbelievable. They are definitely on the naughty list, my Christmas card issue. But this is just to say that we're coastal points of the people we rescue come from all around the UK and Ireland. And so a huge part of what we're trying to do is getting those messages into these inner city locations, talk to kids in school.
I was going to say, do you have an education thing?
Massively. Absolutely. It's a huge thing in our life as well. And we've got our Folk to Live campaign, which is a really simple 4 or 5 step process we can go into later of what to do when you're in the water. And that's whether you're in a swimming pool, a canal, you've gone quarry diving with someone who's hot, a lot of people do that, and unfortunately a lot of people lose their lives that way, or whether you're up the coast. So we're coastal at points of delivery, we're not a coastal charity. I think back to kind of the majority of it, but what I thought would be interesting to do quickly is just see what's going on around the coast. So, on our website, I don't know if you guys can see this, but we've got our latest lifeboat launches. So, Lerwick up in Scotland launched 26 minutes ago. They launched their 7th-class lifeboat. Then it seems they also launched their Y-class lifeboat a couple of minutes before that. So it's probably a relatively immediate shout. Small boats going out, big boats coming in to back that up. After that, is that right? Yeah, good thanks. Anstruther, Barry Dock, Torbay, Kinghorn, Skerries. These are all launches that have happened since 9:30 last night. We're busy. We will be for a long time more, but we're really proud of what we're doing. Really pleased to have you guys here today to hopefully see a Shannon in real life and yeah, and see how the models stack up. Yeah, thank you.
Right, so joined by 2 chaps, who you guys are engineers, I'm guessing you're like, so what we're going to do now, as I mentioned this morning, is we're going to split up into 2 groups. So let me just bring up your names, and then we can